Manage your center, okay? How to make it nice small. Small becomes a big word in the repertoire later when we get into blocking, we get into fakes, we get into all of that stuff. It's all about being small. All right? I know, hard to be small, isn't it?
Yeah. The bigger I get, the more
okay,
area
so the idea here is we are the ones in control. How many people used to use that type of idea, running somebody down to close range or open range? Anybody use that before? Okay. Anybody know exactly, did anybody train that to somebody before? Just do it. Right, and here you guys do some training already. Okay, that's good. So, yeah, again, here's an opportunity to understand what's going on, and you may not ever have to train it to somebody because they just know it. They just do it naturally. Because you do naturally now or something. But you may also go, man, this guy's having a hard time. So you'll be able to at least have some idea how to give him a different way to learn how to do this. Huge part of controlling your opponent, folks. Big, big part, okay? All right, that's the quick and short of a class that I usually run a good bit longer, but it gives you an idea of center and movement and things like that. I think the next piece, what we're going to do, we're going to cover two things at once, and that is going to be pressure, okay? How to understand pressure between you and your opponent while you're fighting, and how to apply pressure, and how to move your center underneath you to do those things. Again, we're going to take movement into application of pressure, and how to manipulate your opponent. All right? So let's take 5 minutes. I'm going to yell to get you back on the field. Parts in the past. Okay? How many people saw how many people that became black belts and they were done? Exactly. Right? Because they got their goal. Woohoo! Okay? I'm a black belt now. I know everything. All right? And let me tell you, when they say that's the beginning, that really is the beginning. I mean, these black belts are a joke. Okay? And I was one, so they're a joke. Okay? It's not a joke as in they learned a great deal of technique to get to where they were. But they haven't gotten to the point where they can really understand everything else. You know, those little old masters out there who are still doing wonderful work at lates in their age. You know, yeah, some people make a farce out of that, but there are those little Aikido guys. They know exactly what they're doing, okay? Because it's very easy to control, and especially when you're within your own style, okay? So in other words, and I get that all the time. It's you fight at the same practice all the time. It's like, hey, I can beat everybody, so I'm going to go against, the person who started the whole thing up, and he's out there old and lazy, and you walk in here, it's like, bang! It's like, dang it. Why is that happening? Well, because he knows exactly what you're doing, okay? So when you know what somebody's doing, it's a lot easier to understand. So this is a good reason why you guys get a chance to see what other stuff's out there. It's because now you walk out of Penzic, somebody goes, you go, hey, Brannos A, I know that one. Okay? Like, I know where you're from. Okay? And then you'll be like, and you're going to sit over the next couple of weeks and go, I know how to beat that. You know, I can do it. And then you get the chance to try it. But at least you're not walking out there and going, what the hell is that? Okay? And you don't know what angle stuff's going to come in on. Most dangerous things in the world. And that's what we're going to talk about next, actually. Okay? We're going to talk about, and usually, it's a little bit later, and this is a subject that's going to go a little bit beyond the technique part. Okay, it's not hard to understand, but it may be something that you can't execute right away. If you've been fighting a long time, hopefully this will click and you can use this. If you haven't, at least you're getting exposed to it now, so that when you go into doing it, you understand what's happening and how to use it. Okay, and that is the use of. The beginning of this is good for everybody, and then we're going to use the use of movement to control angles. And the second part of this is tension. Okay, you'll hear Paul, I think he used to call it force, and that is the energy between you, and oh boy, now we're getting into energy. It's crazy, right? That energy between you and your opponent. So really, it's a tension between you two. So if I'm standing here going, what do you think I'm going to do? Well, congratulations. You know, that's tension. Okay? Okay? If I'm standing here, you a little more concerned?
Yeah.
Okay? Well, there's tension. Right? Everybody feels it now. but they may not recognize it as, you know, they'd be like, oh, hey, look, I'm just going to move this shield up a little bit because I feel like something's going to hit over here. Okay? So they're not recognizing how to take advantage of it. The earlier you recognize tension, the more you're able to take advantage of it with your opponent. All right, so we're going to go through that a little bit. It's not going to be a real long one. And later we're actually going to go through it in armor, and you guys will end up doing a couple of drills, throwing shots. I have a one-shot drill that's very interesting. How many people throw a lot of combinations? Okay, exactly. How many people is combination is you have to throw, I go to a lot of kingdoms. Good on belt, you have to know combinations. Okay? And it's not a terrible thing. Combination is just another exercise of being able to pull your opponent into a shape. Okay? I just went out west, and they have a lot of stuff on the lockout guys, and you have to know combinations there. And I was like, well, you know, you're not going to like me much because I don't do combinations. All of mine, even if it's a combination, is individual shots. Okay? But because I always go back to good defense form and back out to a combination. But here's my three-part combination. Here I am. Okay, that's a combination, isn't it?
Yep.
You're controlling me.
Okay. Did I have to throw? What I have to do is make sure he understands that I can throw. I have to be dangerous enough that he doesn't go, you know, whatever, I've seen you do that, you can't hit me even when you don't do that. Okay? But, so you have to be dangerous. But that's a combination, guys. You don't have to, I don't have to go bang, bang. I can go bang. Okay? It can be as simple as that. As long as you already made sure your opponent understands that you're dangerous. Okay. So, first piece in this exercise, we're going to team up a little bit, and we're going to use a little bit of footwork. I'm going to demonstrate the first line here, and I'm sorry, I apologize of using you. We just talked about this last night, didn't we? But we're not hitting each other, so it's all good. Okay, go ahead. Ready? We're going to get into fighting mode. I look at him and I go, this is cool, because I know his range is a lot. His range is a lot shorter than my range is. In other words, he could hit me from about there without moving. Just barely. This is your range. I can hit him from right here without moving. Don't seem like it, does it? Okay? Big reason is I look his hips and back of him, right? So rotation of the body cannot rotate to a point where his shoulder's in front of him, which allows him more range. So mostly he's going to be a mid-range. He's going to be here is very comfortable. Here is even more comfortable, right? For me, I'm looking, I'm going, here is very comfortable. Now how do you get close to me? Yeah. Oh, now he's like, okay, now I look. Okay, now I'm like, oh, danger. Okay? So, watch, look at your opponent and understand that. If you don't understand that, would I want to fight him here? Not really. Okay, unless I'm really comfortable in this zone. But really, I'd rather fight him from a place where he can't hit me and I can hit him.
Fair fighting is for suckers.
I'm here to win, not to give you a good fight. Okay? So, you know, and believe me, it's a strong word, right? Everybody's like, oh, we got to get a great fight, you know. And it is. We're all out here to have fun. But if I go out there and one shot you to the point you're so pissed off, would you rather me be nice to you?
Yep.
Right? Not really, would you? No, you rather me not one shot you?
I don't care.
Depends on who's looking.
Right, but you get frustrated with yourself, right?
The only guy that pisses me off with that is
With you. Is who?
Good.
Well, see, that works too.
No, Lord, you're not saved. Your organization and liability.
So the idea is, be careful about giving people what you think is a good fight, because you get in a position where all of a sudden I'm like, oh hey, I'm going to give him his chance, so I'm going to be right here. Let's go. Okay, now I could be even better than him. But what I've created is a piece where I've given him energy to raise above my energy. I've given him opportunity.
Unnecessarily.
All right? You want to see the simplest way to hit someone? Right? Come on. Attention, right? And hit you. Okay? right? Just releasing tension. Your opponent's going to release tension. Okay? That's what I call 0 to 100. Whoever gets there first wins. If I get him up to 90%, maybe even above his potential, I'm making him fight better than ever before. Congratulations, you made him win. Do we want that? Okay? Yeah, sure, sometimes we're like, all right! You know, you want to rev somebody up. I'll do that. I'm like,
He's on my side.
yeah, yeah. But you know, you got guys out there that you want to show. You give your energy to them so that they can come up. Bad habit with good fighters. Okay? Really gets bad when you're on the top of the game because now you're fighting down and now you don't know how to go back. But, so just be careful on that. Today we're going to do a couple of real quick ones and we're going to get back in partners. Let's get back on the line here. First thing I know is my feet are cutting his angle of his toe. So I know by, now the good part on you guys throw this back rollovers, right? That are very, very dangerous, all right? Even in this case. But here, he knows that he's going to have to pull that shield down, right, to make a good block. Most likely, I have to be careful. He's going to roll over the back side. But I'm going to be here. I'm going to, right? Okay? So now, all of a sudden, if I can pull his shield into the zone, it gets even worse now. Ready? So here's footwork to make something happen. We kind of learned this a little bit. But, you know, I can apply some pressure. See where I'm learning. See how I'm just rolling onto that one. Okay? See how that center is kind of rolling around to apply different pressure? Here's another one. Here's how we apply since I learned something here. Hey! How do you feel?
I feel threatened.
All right? Okay, very simple because I already know I have his foot here. In this case, what's happening is I'm turning his hip even farther here. See how he dips back into that? Okay, this is actually from His Grace Inman, from something that looks even more stupid. Ready? Here we are. What happens with him in this case? Here I'm fighting, I go, hey! And then he steps way back over here and throws these back reps because it's so tall. Okay? And it's weird, I watched this forever, and I'm like, who in the hell would do that? And I couldn't figure out what it was. Now, for a short guy, for me, so this is what I do. Hey! Wow!
I can do without the
Okay? Makes you feel good inside, doesn't it?
Every time he does it.
Okay? So, what's happening there is I'm pulling his body, and then I'm taking advantage of it. With what? Did I even throw a blow yet?
footwork.
Okay? Exactly. Here's a case for footwork. Okay? Here's another case, okay? You want to stay in your B range. Okay? So stay with me. Here I am. Here I am. Okay? Well, look, he moved backwards. And so, but he wanted to get back into that B range. But in a lot of cases, what happens is he's still thinking middle range. Excuse me, I use A, B, C. If I do that, understand A is short, B is middle, C is long. In this case, he moved back into a space where he still had space between us. In a lot of other cases, what happens, you go from B, I close to A, he's still thinking B. So you have opportunity. Does that make sense? How did we do that? With our feet. So that's why these things are all very important. All right, so everybody team up. We're going to try that little step out drill. You're in between you and your opponent like you're really fighting. Okay? And the big piece here is now what we're going to do is a simple step. Okay? Simple step and go. So the first part of that is, just small step. Okay? And if you don't even want to step, you can stomp. Watch my feet. I can potentially go. Look what happens, okay? All right? Okay, let's see it. Okay, one person at a time. You guys figure out who it's going to be.
I
can hit you from here.
Okay. You got it. Okay? If I drop your hip, by dropping your hip, by pulling your hip here, okay, now it's harder. If you want, I've done that once in a while when they don't do it, when I don't commit as well as I can. But oftentimes I don't have to. No, you can actually do it. Right. Well, I'm out here. I don't have to. Okay? But you see, if you stay, does that make sense? Okay, so just give a little stomp the first time. And this person just go with the feel. Give a good stomp with that foot. Okay?